Hey guys, welcome back. This is Lucid. We've got another turn with middle-aged Atlantis. It's turn 52. So, if you recall, we have Yis sieging down one of our thrones, and we had been preparing to kind of kill his whole army. And, yeah, I think the pieces are in place. So, this turn also happened when Llama server went down, and we actually had to, it kind of came back up and time wasn't added to all the games, and so the game hosted and a few people staled, and we had to re-roll, or to redo the turn. So it was kind of some kind of weird drama for this turn. Anyway, we have a message from Vanarus. I'm happy if he's going to be fighting you or someone else underwater. This is in reference to Yis, by the way. I cannot gain ground versus an underwater nation and will not win by underwater thrones, so no thanks. No need for that. Please let's talk in Discord. I'm rarely reading these messages. And this gem is a small gift, so your messenger isn't coming back empty-handed. We get 5 water gems. That's extremely kind of you, Vanarus. Thank you so much. I do need to write messages back. I haven't done diplomacy for this turn yet. We have a message from Phacia. Hey, and thanks. My land troops can go for Yis, I guess, but I'd want to know some, about him first. His bless, research if known, combat spells. That way I'll have a bit easier engagement. As you probably know, I'm at war with Relay, and I can fend him off on land trivially. Underwater is a bit tricky. I have Golem SCs, but I'm afraid water elementals still beat them up. So I could use some help in that engagement. And I actually talk with him in Discord. We haven't talked about all this. I'm not sure if he's going to help with Yis. But, yeah, he's... he's game to kind of enter in the war with Yis. Right now he's fighting up here with... so this is Phacia's capital, somewhere around here, I think. And obviously that puts him in kind of direct conflict with Relay. He's also conquered almost all of Jotunheim. And Jotunheim went AI. I'm not sure when he went AI, but I think that aided in the speed of the conquering, though it could be Jotunheim was kind of already out of the game by the time he did that. So he's got a reasonably strong land presence. Now, I might need to be careful what I ask for, because him pushing up could potentially just be a land grab for him, rather than him helping with actual Yisian armies. And that I'm not excited about. So we'll have to see. I'm not sure what it will mean. But I'm not really terribly scared of... Let's take a look at Phacia. I'm not terribly scared of them, though. So they have Storm Colossi, or Storm Captains, and these guys make very good cloud trapezing thugs. Though honestly, we could kill them pretty easily, I think, with... I mean, they don't have any resistances, and water thugs and air thugs are usually going to rely on killing things quickly, with quickness, and then mist form. So, I mean, even trivial things in the like a very, very light thug in a province with a magic weapon can kill these guys, and certainly a teleporting King of the Deeps could probably do it. So, they have that. Aside from that, and this is not really like a guide on Phacia or anything, they have kind of weak astral mages. These I would consider magic dueling. Because I have my cheap astral mages that I can only recruit on land, or well, they're cheap relative to this. To knock out a cap-only mage would be worth it. And then they have these guys, the Prince Consorts, strong air mages. They do also have access to Acid Storm. And they may be set up to endure Acid Storm as well as I can. So, I don't think I would... I think that, like, the tactics I'm going for a land war would be very... It would be very detrimental to fight these guys. Basically because they're high HP units, and that's the only real stat that Atlanteans have that other people don't, which I can leverage in an Acid Storm War. So I don't really want to fight them. But I think what I need to ask is, like, what are Yus's lands he could take? So I think I'll do that in Diplo, in Discord. But the best solution to these types of problems, and I don't think I thought of it, this is sometimes the problem, like, I'm like, oh, you know, this guy borders somebody I'm at war with, let's ask him to help. And that's not always a good idea, because you want them to help kill armies, not to take your land. What I really would want him to do is to, like, go up here underwater, but I guess he doesn't want to do that. He just wants to come up here and take this shit, which is going to be mine. Like, this is all going to be mine. Anyway. Let's do stuff for the turn. So then we have a message from Pelagia saying, good game. And I think I had sent him a message the turn before saying, good game. But if I didn't, and you're listening to this, then good game, Pelagia. I think he fought really well. It's always a treat, too, when people fight really hard to the end. It really is. I mean, it's not a treat when they're, like, Bane Venom charming their capital, but when they're trying to kill you to the end, that's always fun. Okay, so we cast Dark Knowledge a few times. We found a field of underwater clams here. So this is turning out to be a very valuable province indeed. We've got 3 gems here. And then we cast Augury, we didn't find anything. Haruspex. We found a Glen of Verdant Greenery on this island right here. You can see it in the picture. And then we found another field of undead clams right here beneath it. So we have another field of undead clams right here, which is a Death 1 site. So this is a valuable province. This is... yeah, 4 gem site. And then plus it gets a little gold as well. But it's a kind of low income province, so we probably won't afford it. We cast Teleport, and we cast Mind Hunt. We killed Carlusos, which I was hoping it was a Knight Commander. Appears it's not. So, anyway, we're moving here. One thing that sucks is I did look at the original turn that came through. I did, you know, when you re-roll the turn, you don't change anything, but you can kind of look. I think I asked people not to look, just so that they wouldn't change things, but I was targeting this. I did Mind Hunt on this Knight stack here. And unfortunately, in the first version, the Mind Hunt killed the commander. In this version, it killed somebody, but apparently the person it killed was like an indie scout or something here, which is always a problem with mind hunting, is you never know if there's a scout in the province you're targeting. That way it's actually really good if you can, well, okay, pretty good if you have 2 mind hunters that can target the same province. But versus normal troops like a Knight Commander, you're almost guaranteed to kill them. Got nature gems. We got a lab, 13 gems, and a manual of water breathing. I will take that. This item actually turns out to be really clutch this turn, because I need it. Okay. Now this is important. There's a scout on top of this fort by Tian Chi. In conjunction with a bunch of troops over here. Now, why would Tian Chi put a scout on top of... like, why would he scout in this direction? There's no, like, through passage for him to go. He's not going to get any kind of intel. You know, like, oh, I guess this is how big the Atlantean Empire is. Doesn't make any sense. Like, He knows I own these 2 provinces. He can see what's in them. You know, there's only one reason that I can think he would want to put a scout here, and that is so that he could see what's on top of my fort before he attacks it. And he's got a ton of guys here. So, it seems we may have a war with Tian Chi brewing. Now, I have this guy here with an effigy of war, which maybe is a mistake, because it's going to make it look like I have a big, fat doom stack here. So he may be thinking I'm going to attack him and preparing for an earlier war. What I could do is I could tell him in Diplo that, hey, you know, we don't need to fight, and probably get out of this. But instead what I'm going to do is we're going to patrol with Iago and Nona. And, yeah, we're going to drop Acid Storm with some people on Guard Commander. Just like this. And we'll be spamming Luck and Body Ethereal, and these will be pretty good at getting me to survive the Acid Storm. Yeah. So, it would be nice to get... I guess I could do Protection, too. Nah. Anyway. If he attacks me with a bunch of humans, and I turn 1 Acid Storm him, it's going to be extraordinarily painful. Now, he does have a ton of Geomancers. Okay, this seems unlikely. I think he put an effigy of war here. Or if he attacks me with 50 Geomancers, and I Acid Storm him on the first turn of our war, I think I would literally die. I mean, that would be so hilarious. 1 second, my dog's barking. Okay, so... that's what we have going on over here. Now, nothing has really changed on this front. I had an army here that I pulled back to this fort. This army has advanced. So what we're going to do is we're going to prepare to take Pangaea. And if we kind of think about, like, who are the bogeys, we've got, there's at least one 10 size Movark stack that's unaccounted for. And then there's these 60 knights, and there's potentially another, like, 10 Movark knights which could make it in from this capital. So there's potentially, like, 20 Movark knights. He has a predictable move from me. I think it's extremely predictable these guys are going to move here. Now, because I'm giving him a predictable move, I need to be extra careful, because he could easily bring in enough to just take this. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to bring in everybody, but we're going to come in with mage support. So, and I haven't decided, either we can do Acid Rain, which is going to be better if I'm fighting like a small stack of knights and I don't want to Acid Storm all my guys, or if I'm fighting like a big stack of Movarks. I'm sorry, Acid Rain is going to be better if we're fighting the knights, or like a small stack of Movarks. If we're going to be fighting a big stack, like if he brings everybody, which he could, because there's like 20 Movarks which are unaccounted for. My guess is they're in this area. Yeah, so if they're unaccounted for, he could potentially bring all the knights and the Movarks and some mages that I don't see because I don't have good scouting vision. They could show up here, and we could be in some trouble. Now, the risk of dropping Acid Storm is I can potentially kill my human mages very easily, and I will cause some attrition among my troops. Sorry, I've got a plane coming over. So given that, I think what I need to do... I think the risk, though, is if I don't drop Acid Storm and I hit 20 Movarks, they will kill this whole army. And that is a loss that I cannot afford. Like, it's a cost too great for me to bear in this war. Losing this whole stack will mean I can't take Pangaea for a long time. And it's gonna be... yeah, I mean, it would be a huge loss. Losing a mage would be unfortunate, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. So I think that's actually going to be how we think about it. And I think what we're going to do is I'm going to take both of these humans and put them on top of one of my large Atlanteans, which they can both fit because they're both size 4. And these are size 2. Now, what this one's going to do is I think we're going to do luck twice and then body ethereal twice. And that will hopefully target both of my commanders. And then maybe we do cheat fate twice too, actually. And this will be better at blocking acid storm damage. Okay, and then we'll just spam out spells after that. So hopefully it'll go luck, luck, cheat fate, and that will go boom, boom, and then cheat fate, and we'll be okay. Now with that, we can survive Acid Storm. So I think Acid Storm is the call. It should not go off on PD. Yeah. I think the way to describe Acid Storm is it's a sword that has no hilt. I mean, it will, even strong dudes, it will just cut through them. It will really cut through people. The other thing is in diplomacy, I have sent 15 more air gems to Pythium, and that means I'm going to be getting 15 more water gems this coming turn from Pythium. So that will get my water income up pretty high. The other thing is I put a lot of water gems on these folks here, which I'm not expecting to use, but if he does storm my fort, I want to have, you know, precautions in place. So let's talk about the most important thing this turn, which is going to be killing this Eocian stack. I have tested this. This is so important. Like, if this doesn't work, I'm going to lose this war, which is kind of usually my criteria for testing if I'm not sure whether it would work or not. And if it's important enough where winning or losing that one thing will determine the whole outcome of the war, I'll generally test it. So I had about the amount of Movarks, and I had the same thugs he had. And I had all his little Astral Mage Core spamming Paralyze. And even in the worst case scenario that I was able to come up with, in terms of like RNG, like if I get turn 1 paralyzed with my squid, I still kill everybody. Now, so what am I doing? We're breaking out of the siege with 3 guys here, and we're joining it with 1 guy here. So I'm going to hit Y so we can see everybody coming in. Okay, so here's my squid. Down here, I've got 1 mage that is going to die. Behind them, I have 2 mages that are standing on top of each other that have rings of returning, and they're not going to die. Now, one kind of hilarious thing is when this ring of returning triggers, it is going to send this non-air breathing mage underwater. And we want to be very careful about that, because they obviously can die. So you have to, if you do a ring of returning and you're playing an underwater nation, you have to make sure you do shambler skins on people that, or, you know, some other water breathing item on people that cannot breathe underwater. So that is that. And what else? Okay, so that's the formation. Now the scripting that we have is my octopus is going to be doing, or my Kraken, excuse me, is going to be doing things that other people cannot do to him, like Temper Flesh and Flying Shield. These 2 alone are going to be enough where I think if nothing else hits, or, well, if a few other things don't hit, we'll still survive okay. Then Summon Earth Power and Breath of Winter. Breath of Winter, this is going to make sure I don't die, like, to a charge. I need to get these off very, very quickly. This is going to make sure I don't fatigue out. This is going to fatigue out everybody around me. So think of this like kind of like a more short-term defense. This is going to make sure I don't die soon. Once this comes up, everybody around me is going to be fatigued out so they can't really attack. This is the best. If they don't have cold resistance, This is the best protection over a long period of time in a battle for me. And then Astral Shield, which is, again, like, marginal short-term protection. And this one I don't even know the value of. Like, maybe I should do something different. I just don't know what. I tried it with Rain of Stones. The problem with Rain of Stones is that it doesn't really kill more troops, and it fatigues me out so I get more afflictions. That's basically it. By the time I would cast it in my script, because I would want to put it at the end of my script, there's a good chance by the time it actually goes off in combat, because there's going to be knights running forward, that everybody around me is already frozen. Putting it up isn't going to do much. I'd rather just chop through shit, right? So, Astral Shield, not super important. Though it could potentially reduce the number of afflictions I get, which would be nice. I mean, we don't care that much, but... Okay, this guy, who is a mage that is probably going to die, he's scripted to Quickness or Body Ethereal and a Retreat, and these will target onto him. Quickness is really important. Body Ethereal, very much less so. It will reduce some of the harass penalty, which will be nice, since... I forget what, they have one mundane attack. And then down here, we took huge getting this Nature Mage here was a big problem. I had tried to get one from up here where I've got my Jade Amazons, but I couldn't. I even thought about it when they were back, or once the army was here, and I was like, could I do Boots of Quickness and get them down or anything? There was no way that I could get a Nature Mage into this fort in time. But I had just so happened to have rolled an air mage here who could Cloud Trapeze him. And even if I had only had Air 1, I could have used Ring of Wizardry to Cloud Trapeze over this way. So anyway, we have this Air Mage here, and we've given her a Thistle Mace so that she's Nature 2. And Nature 2 is the base requirement to cast Regeneration on somebody else. So you need Nature 2 and you need gems to do Regeneration. This is the Nature 3, so we're going to cast Regeneration on my Kraken, who already has Regeneration. So that's going to give him 20% regen, which means he's going to regen 60 damage a turn. Now, with all the stuff we're going to have on him, like even with just this, with Temper Flesh and Flying Shield, it's going to be very unlikely that they can do 60 damage a turn to him. Especially at the beginning, he's going to have really high defense, which will help a bit with some of the initial kind of charging. Then we're going to do Gift of Flight. Not super important, and I'm not actually sure how much I like Gift of Flight, because in theory it could cause me to have a bad morale check and just leave, which is not something I want. But it also can mean I chase down more of their dudes. Yeah, you could make the argument I should just do Swarm. He's already going to be pretty fast. We're not really going to chase knights. Maybe we just do Swarm. I think this might be a better script. We can give ourselves like another Nature Gem or two, get another Swarm off. Okay. So we'll just do this. His whole purpose really is just to cast Regeneration. Gift of Flight is nice, kind of, depending. I definitely don't want to get any closer to their backline than I have to, because who knows what kind of shit they can cast. I mean, not really much, but like in theory, if they Gift of Heaven, they're going to be way more precise if I'm close to them, which is an actual concern. And I don't care about Gift of Heaven from a long way away, because it's not going to hit me enough to get through my regen. But if I'm close, Gift of Heaven could be a problem. And that's, for those of you who don't know, Gift of Heaven is this spell. It does 150 magical blunt damage, but it's really inaccurate. So, anyway. You don't want to get hit by it when you're really close, though. It's accurate enough when you're close that it's gonna hit something. Like, So that's basically it. We got Regen and Swarm going off. And then finally, this is our Fluffer coming in. I don't think I renamed him, but we've got Iron Will, Iron Warriors, Iron Will, Iron Warriors. And the Iron Will is going to hit him. The worst thing that can happen, and it's not, I don't think, in any way going to result in the Kraken's death, but the worst thing that would happen is if he gets turn 1 paralyzed. So yeah, Iron Will going off first, and then Iron Warrior second. This will give him... Iron Skin is actually pretty important. This guy not getting interrupted in his script, pretty important. If he gets teleported back early, like before either of these go off, I'll be in kind of rough shape. My Kraken without Iron Warriors on will be in trouble. I mean, it will be bad. I don't think he'll die, because Tempered Flesh is going to significantly reduce the incoming damage. But it's not going to be good. So worst case is that they do something, like even just like a Swarm Caster or something that interrupts my spell casting. Like Summon Air Elementals is something they could do. And if they do that and cause these guys to retreat before they can get their script off. Now the problem is, like, Summon Air Elementals will cause an Air Elemental to summon after turn 1, so it's very likely the first one will go off, and then it'll take them a turn to fly, so it's very likely the second one will go off. So I think it would be pretty hard for them to interrupt me before turn 2, which is all I really care about. All my things that are really important are happening by the second slot in the script. So that's basically it. We've got this guy moving in, these guys breaking siege. Then everybody else, we're just summoning water elementals. And this is in case they run inside the fort. This guy's dropping anti-magic and then summoning water elementals. And will water elementals be able to save the day versus a bunch of Movark Knights? No, but they'll probably kill some of them. Now, what I expect to happen is we break the siege, and then after we've broken it, like, nobody's gonna come inside, and I'll just, next turn, I'll take these water gems off. We've got 8 on each of them, and then 3 on them, and then 2 on each of these. So once we take all these water gems off, we'll actually have way more water. And potentially, if these guys hold up long enough, we can probably do... like, have a pretty good Falling Frost spam going on over here. But it's hard, I don't know. I think this will work well enough. These guys are just summoning lesser water elementals down here, but if we can clog up the fort gateway and then we can summon Falling Frost, we can do a pretty good amount of damage, I think, on the Movarks. Which, I don't know. I mean, this is, like, really an insurance policy. And if, for example, we kill a ton of the guys, but then, like, a few guys make it, or a commander makes it through or something, like, somehow a thug kills him in the end, then having all these water elementals here will probably kill any thug that kind of sneaks their way into the fort if they're storming. Because they obviously have broken the fort. Okay, so... that's what we have going on here. Now, I think... Okay, so this army also has trolls in it. I haven't tested it with trolls, so I don't think the trolls will be a problem. And getting body ethereal on my Kraken will mean the trolls actually... They'll do a few things which are actually really good for me. One is, if they attack me, they will actually lower the incoming damage because they have normal attacks, not magic ones. The second thing is they're a huge amount of HP on the battlefield. And so they're going to lower the threshold at which the army rout, or they're going to, like, increase the threshold at which the army will rout. And so they'll lower the chances of the Ysian Knights routing. Which means we can kill more of them, which is nice. But he has this, and he also has a ton of these astral mages. Or not a ton, he has like 10 astral mages. Who are going to be spamming out Mind Burn and Paralyze. Oh shit. I wonder who the Mind Burn will target. Yeah. The Mind Burns, in theory, could... Now, he doesn't know I'm doing this, but in theory, the Mind Burns could trigger, depending who they target. I think I know what I need to do. I need to add a few of these guys who are just going to be Mind Burn targets. These guys are probably going to get zapped by Mind Burn and Paralysis. They have a fair amount of HP and low MR. But I need to bring in some Mind Burn targets so they don't target these guys. Because they already have pretty high MR. I've thrown amulets of anti-magic on them. And I don't want them to get hit by Paralyze either. But really, Paralyze won't cause them... Well, Paralyze is just as bad. Paralyze or Mind Burn, if it hits them, is going to be bad. Because it's going to mean they're not going to finish their script before they get hit. But this Guard Commander actually will be pretty good. These guys will evaporate. I don't have to worry about... I mean, it's like 120 HP that these guys have versus like the 300 of my god. So it's not going to trigger an HP route. And when you add in my other mages, you know, it's it's another maybe 100. So I don't think that's going to trigger any kind of HP route condition. Then maybe I could bring like 1 or 2 less, because I don't want to I don't want to flirt with that. But hopefully, 1 second, my dog's going crazy. Okay, so yeah, I think that will do a pretty good job in terms of diverting like the first couple turns of Mind Burn, and potentially Paralysis. My god's going to have 21 MR, and then after the turn 1 Iron Will, he'll have 25. That is not going to be enough to keep him from getting paralyzed at all, but it will be enough to keep him from hopefully getting paralyzed in the first couple turns before he can finish his buff cycle. And honestly, if I get paralyzed the whole fight, just having this shield should be enough that we kind of zap everything around us. So we don't actually have to be awake, we can just use Breath of Winter, and that should be enough with our shield, that we'll just zap everything around us and be very happy about it. So I think that's it. Worst case is, the very, very worst case is this guy gets paralyzed turn 1, which can happen. That both of my other guys get Mind Burned, and so they zap out before they buff him. If that happens, I will probably... there is a decent chance that he dies. There's also a chance that if that happens, that we don't kill everybody. We just... we basically get the shit beat out of us and we get really afflicted, and then we retreat. So that would be unfortunate. The way retreating works too outside fort battles is like if he retreats, he's not going to retreat into the fort. So if you fight outside the fort, you can't also fight inside the fort. So there'd be a battle outside the fort, then when they storm, they would fight with whatever they've brought inside the fort to fight these guys, and then my guys who retreated would like go to a different province potentially. So anyway, I've kind of been obsessing about worst case scenario. Normal case scenario is that we kill half of his army and the other half runs away. What we are also doing is, because we're only going to kill half of his army and the other half is going to run away, we're going to teleport on top of this province, because he only has one retreat path that I'm aware of. And what we're gonna do is teleport on it. We've got this guy, kind of a normal script, Liquid Body, Body Ethereal, and Breath of Winter, and then hold an attack. We could also do Astral Shield. Not really ever a bad idea. It's going to be a little fatigue heavy, though. Probably don't need it. Liquid Body, this is probably enough. Put him in the back. And he has a Vine Shield. So basically he's going to regen 3 a turn. And I think he'll do a pretty good job, 20 protection. He'll do a pretty good job mitigating incoming damage. He has fire resistance, so I think he'll still die pretty handily to knights. But if it's only a couple knights, he might do okay. Maybe we should do quickness. We are kind of fatigue neutral. Maybe we do quickness. This will be... Yeah, our what's our spellcasting encumbrance? So every time we cast a spell, it's going to be 4. Which is not bad. So basically we're going to be getting, if you look, well, and then we've got 1 baseline reinvigoration on top of this. So it's actually, yeah, that spellcasting encumbrance is going to be canceled out by our reinvigoration. So then it's just whatever these are going to cost. And we're Astral 3, Water 3. So Liquid Body, 20, 30, 20, 20. And these are all level 1 spells. So this will be like 8. 10, like, so 7, 10, 7, 7. So it's 21, 31. We'll be at like 31 fatigue at the end of our buff cycle. And then we'll be fatigue neutral. I think that's totally fine. So I think we'll do Quicken Self. This will help us a bit if we have to fight Movark Knights. I think we'll probably still lose, but if it's like 5 Movark Knights or a Thug or something like this, that Quicken Self would be the difference. So I think we'll add that in, and then we'll just go attack. Yeah. We could wait a turn. I don't think we will. Okay, so he's going to teleport right here, and God willing, we'll cut off the retreat path, and then instead of killing half of his army, we'll kill all of it. Now this is obviously a gamble. I can't know because I don't know what's here or here. There's a lot of things I don't know, but hopefully we kill what's here. If he has Astral Mages that move in here, I'm kind of toast. That's kind of how it's going to work. I haven't done MR in my script, and my MR is kind of shitty. I don't want to add it. I'll get my fatigue too high. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's a roll of the dice. I've had really bad luck with my thugs so far. I wouldn't expect... I don't know. I have no idea what to expect. You can't... When you have no vision, you don't really know what to expect. It's totally reasonable to think that he's not going to move anything here because he's got this fort broken through. It's also reasonable to think he's going to move something here to raid after he's done with the fort. Who knows? So anyway, that's what we're doing. Here, yeah, so here we're moving everybody. We're doing Acid Storm. We're doing Gluck Spam. Wooden Warriors. Not totally sure about that, actually. Do Conservative Gym use. Not sure. And then here, potentially he could raid with 30. I don't think he's going to raid with all the knights, but he might raid with, like, some of the knights. If he raids with knights, what we're going to want to do is summon fire elementals behind some kind of PD. So we put 16 PD here. And we're going to have these guys moving in. We're going to have this guy summoning fire elementals and then spamming out acid rain. But in reality, he's going to summon 2 fire elementals and then fatigue out for a hot minute. He'll probably get 1 acid rain off. we're going to be spamming out Swarm, which will soak up lance charges and tie up knights. And then we're going to have this thug buff himself and go kill everybody. He's got a Wraith Sword, Boots of Quickness, a Bottle of Living Water, and Bracers of Protection. So that's what we've got going on there. Armor of the Knights, he's got just his baseline hat on, which is fine. So anyway, that's what we've got going on here. I thought about sending this thug over this way, but I've just had such bad luck with thugs. I want to play kind of more conservative. I don't really want to keep losing him. Because I definitely, and believe me, I thought about doing this, because I normally love raiding, but I also really like having my really expensive thugs not die. So hopefully we catch some guys. I think it's, if I were him, I would raid this. Yeah. But this could be a huge battle with Acid Storm coming up. You know, how important is Liquid Body? I think it's more important to do turn 1 Acid Storm. If we're going to do Acid Storm, let's do it turn 1. Very possible some of these guys die. Okay. So that's basically it for the turn. But this has potential to be kind of one of the bigger turns in the game. Over here, we're still sieging this down. We've got, I think, one more turn left. My siege strength here is 137. This fort's empty. It's got 250 wall strength, so next turn it should break. And then we'll send everybody inside. One thing I did do is I took all the water gems off these people that I had here. And then we're shuttling them back. And the thought process is there's nothing inside, so I don't need water gems. I have my water lenses, which should be enough to cast a few things, like Friendly Currents, and then, you know, I could probably also do a water spell too. Like, we have Rain here, Friendly Currents, something like this. Okay, so we'll summon something, but we're not going to summon much. And we are basically beg, borrowing, and stealing for any water gems we can get, which you normally do not do. You don't normally trade for things you have the most of. But I have a very important timing I want to get off on Maelstrom, which I am getting this turn. So it's 80 to cast, and I want to be able to do like 100 overcast. And I know you may not think that's possible, but if we sum up how many I've got, next turn I'll have 16. And then here I will have another. So these guys have 8 apiece, so that's another 16. So we're at 32, and then we have 7 more down here, so that's 39. So add 39 to this, and we've got a pretty big number. We're up to what are we at? 05. And then, yeah, we're at 135. And then add to that another 30, and we're at 165. And then add to that the fact that I'm going to be getting 15 more from Pythium, which is 180. And now we're at the 100 overcast mark, which I think will be enough to take it down from yes. And I think I'm making 1 water bracelet, because I will need that to overcast, and all my other water bracelets are accounted for. It's casting Maelstrom, it's a water 6 spell. So, yeah. Our water randoms can do it with a water bracelet. And we'll also throw on probably a Ring of Wizardry, just for good measure. Just to get a tiny bit better overcasting. And if I were... You know, in theory, we could also do... I wonder if this is worth it. Because it's going to be... I'm going to take a quick read in the manual. This is going to give us +1 water magic, but I'm not sure if it's worth it. Yeah, so I don't actually think we're going to. I was thinking about forging it, but I think it will give me 5 bonus, effectively like +5 overcast for being one more in water. But it's going to cost me 15 gems to make. and I can just take those 15 gems and put it into the spell and it will be better. So we're not going to make that, as it turns out. Now, you could say you get some economy from it because I can use that Robe of the Sea later, which is true, I could, but yeah, I'm not going to. Well, I mean, I would use it, but I'm not going to put it on him because basically if I want to have that 100 overcast point, I would have to wait another turn if I went to forge this, and that other turn of income that I would have to wait is more than the cost of a Robe of the Sea, as I'll get 15 something water gems from having Maelstrom up. So we're casting it next turn, and I also want to deny that income to Yes. Our Mind Hunt engine is turned off for the moment. There's no juicy targets, so we'll have to do that later. The other thing that I will say, let's take a little bit of a look around. So Ulm has gone on vacation, and they've got another player kind of covering for them. And I think Ulm does not feel very good about their position in the game. They've had kind of a rough start. And they've kind of been in wars which were very grindy, like with Pangaea, which they like kind of won, but kind of not. And then they've just been not able to take this fort from Pangaea. And I assume it's because there's a ton of assassins inside. So, because of that, they are... Anyway, they're struggling. They've got a different player playing Pangaea. And I'm not sure, but I think the player is kind of just learning Dominions from what I said, or from what I heard, which is fine. I'm just happy he got a sub before going. But it does appear they're not going to take this fort, which means I can. And I've got pretty good... I can definitely make things that are strong versus assassins. Yeah, so I can definitely make gear that's good versus assassins. And, yeah, we can potentially take this. It would be... I think this is, would be a very good place for us to take, because it will give us more natural claim to this throne underwater, which is something we definitely want. And then potentially I might eat all of Ulm too. So that's something we'll be thinking about. If Tian Chi attacks me, I may have to change priorities. But I think I've done a lot of groundwork on if Tian Chi attacks me. I think Shinuyama will help, but it could be they're lying to me. Shinuyama's getting forted up though. You can see they have little temples everywhere. I mean, little forts everywhere. Which means I'm not really going to be able to raid effectively versus them, but it does mean their lands are more rich if I decide to attack them. And the thing is, like, Shinuyama... Let's take a look at him. Where the hell are they? So, I mean, they have these guys who are not bad. And then they have good mages who have water, fire access, which is nice. And they have a fair amount of HP. A lot of times this nation skelly spams. That's kind of their thing. They can do... I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff they can do, but... yeah. Thing is, if I'm doing Acid Storm, I don't give a shit about skelly spam. The problem is that he also is a high HP nation, so things like Acid Storm aren't going to be super duper effective on him. But if I get Mass Regen up, then before he does, and I can do Acid Storm, then I will win Acid Storm battles. So we are going to be beelining it for Mass Regen, because basically once I have Mass Regen and Acid Storm, I can basically just doom stack around and kill stuff. Or at least that's what I think I can do. We've got a pretty good nature ring too. I could look at overcasting Mother Oak. I might do that. If I've got 16 coming in a turn. When I get to 100, I might overcast. It'll pay for itself in not too terribly long. I'm going to attract... If I get Maelstrom and Mother Oak, I'll start to kind of attract attention from other places. I can potentially steal Stellar Focus too, which I will have in very short order. I'm gonna be at enchantment 7 in a blink of an eye. I mean, this turn I'm gonna get evocation 8, and then I'm gonna have about 1,100 left over, so I'll be almost all the way to enchantment 6, and then I'll be 2 turns away from enchantment 7. So I'm like 3 turns away from enchantment 7, which will be stellar focus. Let's look what else I have at enchantment 7. I think that's we could mass flight, which we can't use. Solar brilliance, which we won't need. Life after death, which we won't use. Ritual of rebirth, which we might can use. We might do ritual of rebirth. Holy shit. I wonder if these guys are doing Phoenix Pyre. That must be what they're doing. That's kind of hilarious. Okay, so if we're doing Acid Storm, I need to ask... Okay, so this is very curious. I need to ask Marignon what he was doing. This, like, if he's doing Acid Storm... So he almost definitely went Alteration. Because this almost definitely means Phoenix Pyre. That's what these mean. But what I'm wondering is, what did he do Phoenix Pyre with? Is it Phoenix Pyre plus, like, Acid Storm, which these guys can do? Okay. Yeah. Oh my god, my dog's so loud. She's barking at my neighbor. Ritual of Rebirth, we have one potential candidate. We could bring Protoluz back. In which Chest Wound and Crippled. Probably worth it just for the Researcher or Forger. Probably worth it. Enormous Strength. I don't think we would use him in combat. Size 4, I don't know if that will grant us a Giant Mummy. I could test it, but I think it's worth bringing him back. Especially since we have a lot of death income. So we'd probably do that. And then... that's probably it. So yeah, Enchantment 7 is not going to be super great, but the real timing is going to be Enchantment 8. Which... what is it, 3,000 something? We're probably like 5 or 6 turns away. We're probably 6 turns away from that. Which will be fine. We're not going to wait, I don't think, on it to fight. The thing is, we should be able to kill humans, like human HP type of things, reasonably efficiently with our army without mass regen, but I'm going to need mass regen to take on like non-human HP stuff. So like Tian Chi I'm not really that worried about right now, though this is, of course, I could be wrong. It's possible I really need to be worried about it. Yeah, anyway. That's basically what we got going on. Anything else that's terribly important? I don't think so. I think we've got our turn in order. Oh, one other thing was I talked with Pelagia here, who... we were on speaking terms the entire conflict. We would kind of go back and forth, and it wasn't even really shit-talking. We were just kind of like going back and forth. Because sometimes you're fighting and it's like playful shit-talking. But no, we weren't even doing that. So we've been on good terms. I did ask him if he has site-searched his stuff, and he said that he's only site-searched really water, natural, and some astral. Water, nature, and some astral. So, yeah. So because of that, I guess that does authorize us to go and do Voice of Tiamat. I had gone and queued it up to start casting it, but I'm going to wait until I put... so it'll be 3 turns from now. Or 2 turns from now, or whenever. Because I'm going to wait to put Maelstrom up. And then once I have Maelstrom up, then I'll start spamming that out. I think that's it. If I get control of Mother Oak, it's going to be 10 nature, so that'll be at like 25. Either I can use that to fuel Ivy Kings, to get like 1 Ivy King per army, which would be really cool. But after that, I can also do Living Castle, which would be really good to give me a lot of underwater forts. Yeah. I can do that in all my high gem provinces so that if I get raided, I don't lose them. I can also use it to get temple, like to protect temples and put temples up all underwater. So if I get Mother Oak, I might... Who can Bloodsack in this game? Not many people. None of my neighbors can. Ulm has Inquisitors who are pretty good at getting rid of enemy Dominion. These guys are super low Holy. Like, they are... Shiniyama does not get good priests. They get this guy who's Holy 1. That guy who's Holy 1. Yeah, they do not get good priests at all. Yeah, so we could go for a very hard Dom push strategy. Like, just doing living castles everywhere, putting temples everywhere. But that would also allow me to do Coral Queens like crazy, because I wouldn't need to use lab turns. I could just use fort temple turns. Because I wouldn't put excuse me, I hit the mic. I wouldn't put temples, labs in all these, because I can't afford to keep mage production up like that. But I could do temples, and if I needed to get a preacher in any spot, I could just spend, a couple fort turns to make one, and they would be right exactly where I need them. And I can potentially, because the other nice thing is once you have a temple, these Holy Threes can preach all the way up to Dominion 7. And once I have Dominion 7 in a province, especially if I have a good Dominion fuel coming in from behind it, like I have a lot of temple checks coming in from neighboring provinces, it will very quickly go up to 10. So there is a very good chance that we do Mother Oak in like 3 or 4 turns. And once we have Mother Oak, we spam out Living Castle. The timing of it is kind of important too. So I can save up... I think I'm going to save up Nature Gems until I have like 140 or something. Maybe 120. Then I'll overcast it. At some point, you don't want to overcast Mother Oak too much, because it's a slow payback. It's only 10 gems a month. And I wouldn't even really need to do it. My income's high enough I could spam those out now. But 25 is better, because Living Castle is 40. So yeah, right now I could do it once every 3 turns, basically. And then if I get this up, I could do it every 2 turns. But yeah, if I do every 2 turns, I do a fort and a temple, I'm going to be in business. I also have one... This fort is untempled, so I need to fort that. I need to temple that. Yeah, we'll be in good shape. So I think those are my goals. I haven't decided on whether to take Stellar Focus or not. I think that will depend. But I'm really late getting to the global game too, so that's a bit unfortunate. I don't know. It's actually kind of good I'm second caster on Maelstrom. It's kind of good. It's actually okay. Because in a game this big, if you put something up for the first, if you're the first one to put it up, you're probably not going to be the one to keep it. So I'm okay keeping Mother Oak and Maelstrom. And then after that having Arcane Nexus, which I think we are starting to save for. We're only at 12, which is a little disappointing for my Pearl income. I've got some places I have not searched for it. But most of them are in Yis. Let's go check these out. Which are the ones I don't have? Palomia? That one I need to search, but I'll do that afterwards. This one I need to search. There's a good chance I get attacked here, too. I'm gonna be careful. This guy's set to retreat in case we get attacked. I'm not going to site search over here until I know what the hell's going on with Tian Chi. Because there's a chance I won't be able to hold it. Though I kind of would like it if he attacks me and all this guy's dying. Make me very, very happy. So where else have I not site searched? Alagard. This province does need to be site searched. There's a lot of this stuff that was formerly Pangaea. I'm not really going to site search it until it is properly mine and I've conquered Pangaea, like taken Pangaea's cap. This one I probably could, though. There's a very low chance that somebody takes that from me. And this one has probably not been site searched for Astral. It's like you can cast it. So this one, Omphalia, we can site search. Oak Halls. Okay, we can site search this too. This is going to be mine. Typhan Sea. This has probably been site searched for Astral, though. I don't think these are worth doing the remotes. I think these are only worth it as I get, like, Astral 2s to walk around. And the thing is, he's almost definitely site searched this for, like, Astral 1. Because he's probably had a Pearl Mage come through here. And Astral 1 to Astral 2 is not really worth it. Really, I would get, like, somebody with a crystal cap, a Starshine cap and a crystal coin, and just have him walk around and site search some of these. Which is not really high value. So some of these I'm not gonna do. Lake Fortune. Like this one's probably almost definitely been site searched for Astral 2. He has a freaking fort with the lab there. The Faraway Sea. Same with this one. I mean, we actually have a guy sitting here. I could probably put this on him. And that he's Astral 4, Water 4, so he can search. He might find something. So that's an upgrade to what I was gonna do. He's researching. I could probably throw boots on him and he could just search. Let's take the Ring of Wizardry off in case you suffer an unfortunate accident. You can site search. Actually, I still have these two. I can potentially... Okay, we've already site searched that up high. If I have a lab somewhere with an Astral Mage in it, I can have them site search it. Like here. Oh, but we're already 6. I've got a guy coming here to build a temple, too. Hopefully we do that next turn. Here we could potentially go up to 4. There's a chance I find an unfound door. Well, let's put it on this other guy who's less likely to die. Okay. Better than just sitting around. I mean, there's a chance to find an unfound door, and I'll take that chance. It's probably like a 1 in 20, but... Unfound doors are kind of cool. They are an Astral 4 site, but they're common. Whereas normally the higher level sites are uncommon. So there will be a few of them, and it's a kind of funny name because there's a lot, but they're unfound because they're really hard to find. And to be Astral 4, which is farther, most people don't site search that hard. The other thing we kind of need to think about is getting Holy site searched. Like, this guy's gonna move. Should we We'll Holy search before we move. Preaching up. We'll keep going until we get Dom String 6. Then we'll probably site search Holy and then move on. Do we have... Is there anywhere else we haven't site searched Holy that we need to? Maybe here? Probably more important to preach for now. Until I get positive Dominion. We'll have another Coral Queen out, so we can decide. We probably need at least one more Coral Queen. We're probably just going to make Coral Queens here for a hot minute. Yeah. I would say, yeah, okay. So I think that's about it for this turn. But, yeah, it'll be really interesting to see whether Tian Chi attacks me. I think what Tian Chi thinks is that I'm going to attack him, because I've got this damn effigy of war. So I may actually be kind of not doing myself a favor by putting this here. But he can probably tell, because I don't have... He'll probably be able to tell that I have... Like, it's going to amplify the number of mages I have, which is usually how you tell if somebody's using an effigy of war. You'll see something like this. It's like, oh, you have 70 Geomancers. Like, no, you don't. You have an effigy of war. Yeah, we'll see. I don't think it makes sense for them to attack me, but it certainly looks like they're going to. But anyway, I've been rambling on long enough. I think we've talked about this turn kind of ad nauseum. But it's going to be an important one. So, thank you guys. See you next time.